Welcoming Logan Stanley here to the program. RFA 37, another one of those guys that had a 2-week notice for an opponent change. It's been kind of a strange card. A couple of the guys, you have 4 guys at Power MMA that are all competing. Should have been 5. One of your teammates got hurt and had to pull out about the same time that you knew that you had an opponent change. Supposed to be Scott Futrell was your original opponent, but now it's Cody Lincoln?
Yep.
Does it make a difference?
Futrell was a southpaw striker, and Lincoln is a jiu-jitsu guy. So, I mean, it makes a difference, but, at the end of the day, this early into my career, I'm just focusing on myself,
For the folks at home that don't know, Logan's 3-0. Hails from the same town as Brock Lesnar. Has been compared to Brock Lesnar, but obviously a welterweight, not a heavyweight. I asked him before we started recording, any extra pressure? And what'd you say?
I said, no, not really.
And then what'd I say?
BS.
Yeah, 100%. Like, there's no way in hell. You can compare it to Brock Lesnar in any way, shape, fashion, or form. So, you're obviously a wrestler. 6 state titles from the time you were in 7th grade all the way through your senior year in high school. 4-time All-American at University of Minnesota underneath the great Jay Robinson, who used to be one of Dan Gable's assistants when Dan was running the gamut in Iowa. You have from a wrestling standpoint, a pretty storied career. So I got to ask, why not continue on? You seem to have the skill. You seem to be able to go on. Why not continue on to the Opens and try to wrestle, like to make an Olympic team or a world team? And why jump into MMA right away?
That was, since I've been little, won that first state title, it was a goal, go to the Olympics. That's always, as a wrestler, that's your goal. But, I think life kind of gets, real life starts to happen. And you realize that, the money's not the same in wrestling. It's a lot of work. And at the weight class I was going to be at is Jordan Burroughs, Kyle Dake, David Taylor. Those guys end up moving up, but it would have been, a lot of guys. There was like, there's 10 NCAA titles right there between those guys, or close to 8 NCAA titles. So it was hard. And then you got to do a lot of, you got to do camps, to keep that income during the summer. And then you got to coach, and if you don't make it to the Olympics, it's hard to make it as a wrestler. And so that was one of those things that, I just really looked at. And I've always wanted to fight. I've always been very interested in MMA since I've been 8th grader, freshman. I've watched, almost every pay-per-view, and, being around Brock, I had a lot of interest in MMA. But you realize that, if you become the best in MMA, you can make a lot of money. You can have a real contract that can change your life, whereas wrestling, you can be the greatest, and it's not change your life money. And so that was a main thing for me really, is to look at it is I want to beat my body up. And if I don't make the Olympics, it doesn't really do anything for myself financially.
John Smith, arguably the best coach and obviously arguably like top 1 or 2 best wrestlers of all time in the United States, didn't make that much money during his run. Like he really, he was coaching at Oklahoma State as an assistant, and he came on, became the head, and still was competing. But they really didn't make that much money. Majority of his money comes from coaching. And that's John Smith. Now, Jordan Burroughs, the same guy you mentioned right now, is absolutely the most celebrated wrestler we have right now. Multi-time world champion, Olympian. I mean, this guy, his credentials go on, and really not making that much money. Like really, you're 3-0 right now, and in probably by the time you hit 8-0 or 10-0, we'll be making almost as much money per year as Jordan Burroughs is once a year winning the Olympics or winning the Worlds. It's like, and it's unfortunate for wrestling because it takes a lot of guys out. Like I thought you would have been a great Olympic-style international wrestler if given the opportunity and chance, but you chose financial stability as opposed to trying to make the Olympic Games. And it's going to hurt wrestling because guys like you that are great and could make it have moved on. But it makes MMA so much better. And when you see your highlight reel, your highlight reel is incredible. Like the way you throw guys down is amazing. Like the way you do things and bringing that new sense of wrestling to the game. But do you it sounds like it was a dream of yours from the time you were 7th and 8th grade to make the Olympic team. You moved on, and I know you're satisfied being in MMA right now, but sometimes you like when the Olympic Games are ramping up, like Rio's getting ready to ramp up, aren't you kind of like, oh, yeah, I could have done that?
It's one of those things, I think, competing for your country, whereas MMA, it's not, unless you're Conor McGregor, and you got the whole country of, Ireland behind you, but our American fighters don't get that, and you win an Olympic gold, there's something that is very celebrated about that. Just winning a gold for your country, that's different than, winning a belt for you and your camp and your family and friends. Besides that, it's not, that's the one difference, it would be, to win an Olympic gold would be a dream come true for any athlete doing anything, And so that, that it does, I miss wrestling a lot, but I also do enjoy the new, learning boxing and jiu-jitsu. And there's so many more things to learn, whereas wrestling, you hit a peak and you have to there's just small little things you can change, whereas MMA, boxing was brand new to me and jiu-jitsu was brand new to me to a point. And so you get to work on a lot of different things and see different things. And with wrestling, you compete against the same guys over and over and over to make the team. And that, that takes a toll on a guy, competing against the same guys. So a lot of things have changed, but, definitely Olympic trials are this weekend in Iowa City. And, I'm sure there's a lot of guys, that are probably fighting that would love to, have a chance this weekend to, get on the Olympic team and be part of the Olympic Games. But, it's just how it happened for me and went the route with MMA.
Smart, because obviously right now you're doing a really great job. I mean, you are crushing fools. 3 TKOs in a row. The longest that you fought is only 3 minutes and 17 seconds. Still haven't gotten out of the first round. The shortest, obviously, is 33 seconds. Your last fight in RFA. And all 3 fights have been in RFA. So obviously you feel comfortable in RFA. It's home for you. You're essentially going back to your part of the country for this fight in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Tax day, it's a big day to be fighting on as well. Obviously you got to make sure your taxes are done before you even get there, and then have to worry about next year's. So how's it been with Simpson, Aaron Simpson? I've talked to a couple of your teammates about how good a coach Aaron is. Obviously I've known Aaron for 25 years. We're friends, but never had him coach me. He's been a great coach for a lot of the guys, so I need to get back into that. But what else has he been helping you through besides the coaching aspect? What else does the team, Power MMA, the team outside of the room and outside the cage? How are they helping each other and helping you, because you're so young in the sport, get the benefit that we didn't have when we started?
I think with just, they're very close. We're very close as a team, and, we go out and do things together. And, Aaron gets it, he was a coach. And so it's nice to sit back and just talk about, wrestling things or things that we have in common. It's very easy for me to make this transition because he had to do the same thing, so he gets it where I'm at, and, NCAAs was not too long ago, and, you miss, not for first year, not competing for me. And so we talk about things like that and the feelings he had, going into some of his first fights after, he was done wrestling and jumping into the sport. And so little things like that have really helped me make the transition easy. So, it's just, other than a coach, is just there to, someone to talk to about what you're going through in life. And, I moved across the country and, I'm here by myself, and so I left all my friends and family. And so it's been an experience for sure.
Well, I was going to ask you why you chose to go to Arizona. I mean, you could have gone anywhere. I mean, you could have stayed closer and gone, and worked out in Milwaukee and still been closer to home, at least, mile-wise, and gone and worked out with Rufus, because Ben Askren, another great wrestler, is there, same weight class. Obviously, he's got a lot more matches than you, and would have worked out. I mean, it would have been a great place for you to learn from the Pettis brothers and everybody else that was there. You could have went to American Top Team. You could have went to Black Zillions. You could have gone anywhere when you came out of college. Why did you choose Power MMA?
I ended up choosing Power because I came out here my freshman year of college to wrestle with Aaron and work out during the summer. And so then I knew him, and then my manager, also Bader, CB, all those guys, Dave Martin, owns part of the gym and manages those guys. So it kind of fell into, everyone knew each other, and it was a comfort, and it was a wrestling-based gym. Wrestlers had done well out of there, and they were going to take care of me. Some of those other gyms, you kind of get lost. There's so many guys, and, you're the new guy. You're not making the gym any money right away. And so it was just one of those things where I wanted to go somewhere I knew I was going to get taken care of and get the work that I needed. So, college wrestling, Luke Becker was my coach day to day. And, I was used to, sitting down every single day watching film, working on little things. Whereas like MMA, you only got a few coaches, and there's a lot of guys at a big gym. They don't have time to do that with you, every day. So I knew if I came to Power, I would be taken care of, and I would get the training and the coaching that I needed.
And let's not throw CB and Bader, to the side either. With their experience level that they have in the big show, and in big fights, not only big wrestling matches, but really big fights, and knowing how to come out. They've won some, they've lost some, but knowing how to come out of it and what works and what doesn't work. It's almost like learning from a 20-year veteran and going, okay, well that doesn't work. I can throw that out of the way and like start on this new thing. And so a lot of the mistakes that they were making when they first started, they've already kind of smoothed that out, and now you get to come and reap all the benefits. So it's actually pretty cool that you're down there. Do they run practices kind of like a college practice when you go in for MMA practice?
The schedule is set up a lot like a college wrestling, except for obviously you don't have to go to class, and so you have 2 workouts a day, and you have more time on your hands. But one in the morning and one at 3. Just like for college wrestling, that's how it was for me. Is we'd lift in the morning or do a light technique in the morning, and then do our hard live wrestling drilling at 3 o'clock. So it's ran a lot of the same, except for obviously you got your striking and your jiu-jitsu and everything else. But it's very organized, and it really is ran a lot like a college wrestling schedule.
Do you go hard every day? Is there every single afternoon practice? There's a hard go involved?
No, not always. Right now, definitely not. But if I'm not in camp, then I've been in camp really. I thought I was going to fight in February, so I started in December. So I've really been in camp for the last couple months. So it's really right now. It's just about technique and doing the right things. And I know I'm in shape. I've been getting ready to fight. I was supposed to fight in February. That got pushed back. I fought in March. Then I took a week off, not even a week off, but just light, and then got ready for this camp, this fight. And so went right back into camp. So at this point, it's just about getting everything lined up and doing the right things and working on the little combos and, just being ready next Friday night, being confident.
Was that a hard adjustment? Because, in wrestling practice in college, there's a hard go every day. Like every time you walk in, at some point you're going live. It might be situations, but you're going live. Yes. Was that a hard adjustment for you to get ready for, like, oh, wow, it's just technique week now. It's just we got to back off. We got to slow down and keep from getting hurt or getting cut?
Yeah, it's definitely different, you wrestle 2-minute live go when you're making weight that day for a duel, you're wrestling live that day before you even compete. And so that it's been different, learning to just, put your foot on the brake a little bit, and slow down and not go so hard because, this is my career right now and this is what I'm trying to do. So, I'm not helping myself by going and, especially when I'm sore and beat up, I'm not doing myself a favor. Whereas, I'm so young, it's good to learn technique and slow things down for me. So it's been a learning process for sure, but, I'm just really getting, used to everything now, and it's been smooth, after that last fight, going right into another camp.
So obviously RFA is one of the farm leagues, the pseudo farm leagues for the UFC. Obviously with Legacy and Titan, there's other leagues as well, but UFC pays pretty close attention. Ed Suarez, the owner of RFA, put a post out a couple days ago that Dana White's going to be shooting, I think it's episode 4 or 5 for, Find the Fighter or whatever that the video is. So he's going to be in attendance. Does that? I know you've seen it. I know you guys have talked about it. You said there's no added pressure with being compared to Brock Lesnar coming from the same hometown and having almost as much success at the same age as he did. Is there more added pressure now knowing that the big man's going to be there? The president of UFC is actually going to be in the crowd watching fights? There's going to be that added pressure, but at the same time, I've competed at NCAAs. There's 20,000 people there. Dan Gable's there. All these Olympians are there. Every time when I wrestled last year against Iowa at the barn, there's 15,000 people. We sold it out. I've wrestled in front of those crowds since my freshman, going down to Iowa City and Carver Hawkeye as a true freshman. I wrestled in front of
14,000 people booing, hate, we hate Iowa. Iowa hates us, so I am used to those, crowds. It's not a pleasant crowd, but this is just, it's different because not more is on the line, but a different opportunity is on the line. And so, but at the end of the day, I have to go out there and I have to get a win, and that doesn't change.
I've talked to a lot of wrestlers. I mean, obviously that's my background. And so I interview a lot of guys that made the move in MMA that are wrestlers. And for some reason, you seem to be the most calm, the most collected, the most put together of the whole group. Of everybody. I'm talking even CB, even Ryan, Johnny Hendricks, any wrestler that's out there right now in MMA in any field, I'm pretty much doing interviews with. But you seem to be so much more together than they were at the same time in their career. How are you so calm about this? Because like the first time, and I get it, the first time I wrestled in front of Gable, I was like, oh wow, it's really Dan Gable up there watching me wrestle. First time I wrestled Carver Hawkeye, I was like, oh, this really is the Iowa Hawkeyes. Like I'm really in the spot right now, and you got to find a way with the crowd booing and yelling at you. Obviously MMA, these guys are not going to be booing and yelling at you. Part will be booing, part will be cheering. This is how the crowd goes. But you're still so calm about it. Like how do you attribute yourself to being so even keeled? With all this going around you, even going in, I've seen some of your footage, even you going into the cage, you're still so very even-keeled.
The biggest thing that I guess I learned throughout college was just when I'm the most relaxed and I compete, like that's when I compete the best. And I know, my first fight, I will say I was nervous. Just because, I hadn't fought, I had 3 amateur fights, but I hadn't fought in a while. And there was a lot of pressure. I was a 4-time All-American. I was supposed to do this, do that, beat this guy up. And like anything happens, all these people are going to be saying all this stuff. But at the end of the day, I really look at it at the end of the day. Look at McGregor. Everyone thought he was unbeatable. He loses. Things happen, but at the end of the day, all I have to do is go out there and compete, and, win or lose, I'm going to compete to the best of my ability, but I have to be loose and relaxed, and anything can happen. It's MMA, but I don't think I can put too much. If you guys start putting too much pressure, you see it. You see guys get exhausted. You see guys get tightened. They don't look like themselves. Like, I know how good I am. I know what my abilities are, and, my scrambling, my wrestling scrambling. I don't think, very many guys in the UFC can scramble and wrestle with me because I just got done with college and I was a 4-time All-American. I know what my level is. I just have to go out there and I have to be loose and relaxed and just compete what I've done my whole life, since I was a 5-year-old wrestler.
Nice. That's Logan Stanley getting ready to do battle here in RFA 37. Logan, thanks so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. Good luck next Friday night. I'll be at home watching for sure. I'm really interested in this fight and to actually see a full fight of yours and not just clips and bits and pieces. I can't wait to see the whole thing. It'd be my first time watching a whole fight of yours. So I appreciate it. Talk to you soon, man. Have a great rest of your camp.
All right. Thanks for having me on.